Number 45. An American traveler in New Zealand carries a transformer to convert New Zealand's standard 240 volts to 120 volts so that she can use some of her small appliances on a trip. Letter A. What is the ratio of turns in the primary and secondary coils of her transformer? All right. So they're talking about transformer, they're giving us voltage, they're talking about number of turns. So therefore, we're going to be using this formula over here on the right-hand side to try and find an answer, right? That's the transformer formula that relates secondary voltage here divided by the primary voltage, and that's going to be equal to the number of turns in the secondary coil divided by the number of turns in the primary. So the first thing is, they want to know the ratio of turns in the primary to the secondary, but this is number of turns in the secondary relative to the primary. So all we got to do is just flip-a-roo. If you flip the right, then you got to flip the left. So this is just now Vp over Vs is equal to Np over Ns. Good. So this is what we're solving for. So if that's what we're solving for, then we need to know two things, the primary and the secondary. They don't tell it to us explicitly. So what we have to think about is this is the actual voltage that is being supplied by New Zealand's power grid. Okay? But this is then the actual voltage that needs to be supplied then to the appliance. Right? So this is basically the primary, and this is then the secondary. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Think about how you would connect it into the wall. This is the primary thing coming out of the wall, and this is what it's going to convert into, so therefore that's the secondary. So now this is simply going to be 240 over then 120 is equal to then this Np over Ns ratio, and obviously that's just equal to 2. So bada bing, bada boom, simple enough. So that takes care of now letter A. So now letter B, it says, what is the ratio of the input to the output current? Okay, so again, we need to use the transformer formula, but it's now going to be the one on the bottom. So this is the secondary current divided by the primary current is now equal to the number of turns in the primary divided by the number of turns in the secondary. All right. So it says, what is the ratio of input to output? Input means primary, output means secondary. Okay. So wait a minute. Well, here we have secondary to primary, but they want the flip. So guess what? Flip that and flip that, right? Look at how nice and easy this is. So this is now going to be the primary current divided by the secondary current. Therefore, that should be the number of turns in the secondary coil divided by the number of turns in the primary coil. This is now what we're after this time. So we need to know two things, or maybe we need to know a ratio between those two things, right? So notice now the relationship between what we solved for over here and what we now need over here. Isn't that the reciprocal, right? So all you got to do is take this answer that you got. Remember, this is really 2 over 1, and just flip it. That's it, right? So therefore now, the primary divided by the secondary here current is going to be 1 over 2. Okay, that's it. So simple. And then letter C, how could a New Zealander traveling in the United States use this same transformer to power her 240 volt appliances from 120 volts? Okay, so basically he or she would essentially need to switch the coils, if possible, in the transformer, or just plug in the output of one, and now it becomes the new input of the other. All right, so yeah, I think that's good enough. Anyway, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Please help us out and subscribe if you can, and I look forward to helping you with more problems. All right, be well.